Is Gene Deal covering for Keefe D? Now, this is the question that we're asking on today's video. And I'm asking this question because when I look at Gene Deal's commentaries and the interviews, particularly on Art of Dialogue and some other podcasts he appeared on, it just sounds an awfully like he's covering for Keefe D. And he's putting all the blame on Death Row. And not on Suge Knight, but on Suge Knight's employees at the time. So if we was to listen to Gene Deal, some rogue elements that are within Death Row Wreckage were responsible for what took place at the MGM and the drive-by. I really don't subscribe to this. I mean, Gene Deal, he's entitled to his opinions and all that. And on a separate note, Gene Deal, he's a very remarkable storyteller. Him, Reggie Wright Jr., and Fat Joe, those three should get into the business of doing audiobooks. They would make a ton of money narrating stuff. But anyway, I just don't really buy what Gene Deal is saying because in one of his commentaries, Gene Deal suggested that Greg Kading, who he has problems with, pretty much coached Keefe D what to say when he gave him the proffer and whatnot. So if what Gene Deal suggests is to believe that Keefe D's proffer is pretty much invalid, and that and also that it was also stated that Keefe D could probably get out of this by saying that he lied. But you know something, I don't think that would work either, because if he was just to say to the authorities and prosecution, "Hey, no, yo, you want to know something, dog? Yo, I made up all that stuff, man. I didn't do that. I wasn't there when that happened. In fact, those guys got into a car with somebody else. Nah, man, I just took the deuce." Man, I took the deuce back to the hotel. I wasn't in the car. I wasn't in the vehicle with them. Nah, man, I was with this shorty I met outside the MGM, and I could give you her number. You know, she can vouch for me and say I was at the hotel and what I was wearing, what time it was, and what we were watching on TV. But I don't think the prosecution will buy it. I don't think the authorities will buy it either, because they raided Keefe D's house, and whatever evidence that they have or what they were looking for was pretty convincing. Now, on that same note, Gene Dales also said that there may be a possibility the reason why that raid took place was because the authorities may have had Keefe D's place bugged. So that is why they were able to gather the evidence that they did, because there was probably something that Keefe D may have said that tipped him off and said, "Look, we got to get this stuff or we're going to miss our shot." But you know, some as I think about the death row thing, I think Gene Deal is right about one thing. Um, Death Row is responsible for what happened to Tupac, and I'm not talking about the employees, the rogue employees that may have worked for Suge. I'm talking about Suge Knight himself, because if Suge Knight really cared for his artists, he would have kept his artists out of harm's way. And when that ruckus broke out, Suge Knight should have got one of the members of his entourage to escort Tupac out of a back door somewhere at the MGM into a car and drive him either to his hotel room or to Club 662. And I'm probably going to be the only person on YouTube to say this, but I don't really care. I don't really mind having an unpopular opinion. Suge Knight really just didn't have Tupac's back. Because who lets their artists get involved in street beefs? Especially street beefs that have nothing to do with him. Really. And what kind of CEO gets involved in street beefs? I mean, you hired all these street guys around you and you couldn't let them handle that. You had to be hands-on with it. Come on. And I mean, if Tupac survived all that, he would have ended up going back to jail for violating the conditions of his bail and would have awaited trial for what happened to him in New York. And of course, Suge Knight would have went back to jail for parole violation. So in essence, both of them were both dummies that thought impulsively about these things. But what's done is done, as they say. But getting back to the main idea, I just don't really buy Gene Deal's theory about all this. And I know he's a very colorful storyteller and all that. And I enjoy listening to him too. But I just don't buy any of that. And remains to be seen if Gene Deal is going to be called as a witness in all this. I mean, Gene wasn't directly involved, but if what Keefe D if what Keefe D said about Puffy is to believe, then more than likely they'll probably call Gene Deal. So it'll be interesting to see how this unfolds from here. I just don't buy the whole thing about the rogue employees and the money and all that other stuff. I mean, it was pretty much known that Pac was planning on leaving Death Row, which is why he was cranking out all those albums at an abnormal pace. And yes, he did die broke. I just don't buy the rogue employee thing. So that's just me. Maybe some of you viewers out there may have a different opinion on this. So tell me in the comment section, what do you all think? Let me know. This is Iron Will Media.